It's Friday, you just got paid, new clothes, new bar, fancy restaurant, and it's gone. Your bank balance is right down back to zero again before you can blink an eye. When it comes to payday, it's hard to know the best things to do with your money. So in today's video, I will go through step by step the 7 things you need to do with your money as soon as you get paid so that you can reach financial freedom sooner. First things first, you need to understand your financial baseline. You need to calculate your net income, which is your money coming into your bank account. And secondly, you want to calculate all your mandatory expenses. You can do this by creating a basic Excel sheet starting with your gross income right at the top. Now this is the total salary which was agreed with your employer, followed by all the other expenses which is charged before your income is deposited into your bank account. Now these expenses of course are the amount you've been taxed, your retirement fund, your medical expenses, and any other expenses that you are charged before getting your money into your account. Now, depending on which country you are from, these expenses would differ. Now that you have your net income, you need to determine all your essential expenses which you need to pay for. These expenses can be placed into 4 categories. The first one would be your mortgage or your rent expense, which should be less than 30% of your net income. And category 2 would be your groceries and food. This would not include food from dining out, but rather your essential groceries. And this should ideally be less than 10% of your net income. And the third category would be your essential utility expenses such as your internet, cell phone, and electricity bills, which should also be less than 10% of your monthly net income. And lastly, all your other expenses fall into the category of wants. This should not be more than 30% of your net income and can include anything from your car installment, your gas, your shopping expenses, your Netflix subscription, and your dining out money. You should strive to keep all these expenses less than 80% of your net income, which will leave you with 20% at the end of the month. If your expenses are over 80%, look for ways to cut out some of the expenses. Do you really need that 3-bedroom fancy apartment, that new Mercedes, a phone that has 1,000 free minutes of calling time per month, or those free-range avocados that cost a fortune? Cut out the expenses where you can. Once you have completed this, you will know what your financial baseline is. In the next step, you should look to put a certain amount of money into an emergency fund. The money you have left over from your monthly income, the 20% which we just mentioned above, will be used to fund this emergency fund. This money will primarily be there in the event you have an unforeseen expense such as a medical bill, a new tire which you suddenly need replaced on your car, or if you suddenly lose your job and don't have an income anymore. The fund will provide you with the necessary money in the event of an emergency, along with providing you with some peace of mind in case anything had to happen in the future. The ideal amount of money you should have in this account should be 6 months of your expenses. So if you have a monthly expense of $1,500, you should have saved up $9,000 in your emergency fund. Some of you watching this may think that it's difficult for you to save money, but my suggestion would be to try starting small. First, you need to cut out your unnecessary expenses, then begin with saving just $50 and slowly start increasing that amount until it covers 1 month of your expenses. Then 3, and try to get it up to 6 months of expenses. Having this fund will give you a peace of mind knowing that if something had to happen one day, that you would be okay, at least in the short term. Now, if you have liked this content so far, I would really appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to my channel. Step number 3 is a critical step. This step involves paying for all your high interest rate debts. 77% of American adults are in debt. People get into the habit of taking out a loan and making it a norm, not realizing the long-term negative financial effects this can have on your life. People get into debt because they want to live a lifestyle they cannot afford and want to be seen being rich. By having debt, it quickly eats up the amount of money you can save and invest. Anything that's over 8% in interest payments needs to be paid off as soon as possible before you can even think about moving on to the next step. Credit card debt is usually one of the highest charged debts, which can get up to a whopping 30%, and those debts need to be paid off as soon as possible. Let's have a look at an example. If you have a loan of $8,000 with an interest rate of 26%, you'll have to pay off $181 per month for the next 12 years. 12 years. That's more than a decade. There's two ways to go about paying off your debts. The first one being the avalanche method, which states that you should pay off your highest interest rate debts first, because mathematically this will be the cheapest and most efficient way to pay off your loans as quickly as possible. The second method is the snowball effect, which states that instead of targeting the interest rate, you should focus on paying off your smallest dollar amount loans first. Although this is mathematically going to cost you more in interest payments, it gives you a sense of achievement when quickly paying off your smaller loans. Now, paying off your high interest rate debts generally does not include the bigger debts you have, such as your mortgage or a business loan. Once you've paid off your high interest rate paying debts over 8%, you should look to start investing your money. Many people feel that investing is complicated and may not have the benefits to it that everyone makes it out to have, but that can't be any further from the truth. Albert Einstein once said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. As you can see from this image, compound interest's most spectacular effects occurs years later. If you invested $5,000 per year from the ages of 25 to 65 at a 10% return, you would have saved up just under $2.5 million. And if you choose not to invest and instead keep that money, let's say, under your bed, at the age of 65, you would have left with just $200,000, more than 10 times less than what you would have had you invested your money instead. Now, it's clear that the more you invest, the more you will end up with by the time of your retirement, which brings us to investing into your retirement fund or your 401k account. Try to max out this fund, and in addition, ask your company that you work for to match what you have invested into this fund, as this is a perk that many companies offer, and by not taking advantage of this, you are essentially leaving free money on the table, which you could multiply by 10 by the time you retire. After you have maxed out your 401k account, then you should look to invest into a Roth IRA. Now, what a Roth IRA allows you to do is to invest your after-tax earnings into the account and not have to pay any taxes on any of your returns ever. So if you at the end of the year, at the age of 25, begin to contribute $6,000 every year till the time you retire at 65, you can expect to get a return of $2.2 million absolutely tax-free. So keep in mind the two distinct differences in benefits to the 401k account and the Roth IRA account. 401k is the benefit where your employer matches your contributions, and a Roth IRA is the benefits of not paying any taxes on your returns. Keep in mind that this Roth IRA is called this in America, but every country will have their own form of tax-free investments. For example, in the United Kingdom, it's called an ISA account, and in South Africa, it's called a tax-free investment. Do the research to see what's available to you in your country. After taking advantage of your retirement accounts, it's time to invest into other funds. Index funds are the best, safest, and easiest form of investments for 99% of people out there. They don't require any work and are cheap to invest into, and Warren Buffett claims that this is the best place to invest your money. For example, the S&P 500 index fund has on average been generating a return of 10% per year since 1957. Now, in that time, there have been multiple economic crashes, but the S&P 500 index funds always bounces back from these crashes. Now, the biggest tip I can give you on index funds is to make monthly contributions rather than trying to time the market for the best price, because mathematically this will give you the highest odds of returns. Now, going through these tips on a monthly basis might get a little tiresome, especially when you need to do it for decades and decades. That's why it's important to automate your investments. The benefits to doing this is, one, it saves you time from doing it, and two, it ensures you don't miss your investment contributions, because sometimes life happens, you have to take care of someone, you're too busy with work, or you just outright forget. As missing investing into your investment accounts every month can add up a lot of money when it's continually happening over decades. In addition, when forgetting to make contributions and seeing the money in your account, you may be tempted to buy something to treat yourself. You can easily set up an automatic payment with your banks into your relevant investment and retirement accounts. Well, there you have it. Those are the 6 steps I take every time I get paid, and it has helped me grow my financial position. Now, if you have liked this video, then please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I will really appreciate it. Until the next video, cheers.